Five Zabs! Welcome to Five Zabs. I'm Evan. This is my dad Lance. Kick off episode 3.
Okay, let's get the ranking system up. 5 Zabs, as you can see here. Let's get into today's titles. We'll be reviewing players. Look at me, XXXtentacion. The boys, Spiderhead. Throwback movie today is Menace II Society. And then we have our underrated and all-time categories.
Alright, first on our list today, start with players. Paramount Plus. It's fairly new. Let's give a brief breakdown for it. It's about a gamer squad. It's filmed documentary style.
Kind of like The Office, where they know the camera's there.
Yes, but it's not real.
All fictional.
Yeah, but it gives that vibe.
Esports. It's really over like 6-7 years.
Yeah.
Of people playing video games competitively.
It's really good. Well,
It's fantastic.
For me, going into it, honestly, I was expecting it to be a 1 or 2 Zabs. I wasn't expecting to like it that much. I didn't know what I was expecting really, because when you see gamers squad doing tournaments and stuff like that, you wouldn't expect to find interest in that. And you didn't find it funny. You know what I mean? How do you find jokes in that? But they are very surprising with how they write it, how they direct it. Like it's really interesting.
Well, and so we're not gamers.
No, not
at all. I mean, zero compared to this.
No, compared to this, not like heavy hardcore, take it super serious. Like
and like they were saying, like junglers and botlings.
Yeah.
Lance is gonna take the Nexus or what? Like, I don't know if those are real or not. I don't know if those are actually real things, and I couldn't wait to find out what happened.
I don't know if you can make up that lingo though. So that
I'm assuming not. But I couldn't wait, not even knowing about any of that.
Right.
You get the gist, and it was so I feel like I'm watching a real sport.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm watching a real story, and it's told so good.
Yeah.
I'm shocked at how entertaining I found it.
Yeah.
And you just want to keep watching the next one. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What was that other movie from way back?
Oh, Project X.
It's got that vibe.
It has that vibe. I thought whoever made this show was the directors of that movie as well, because it's so similarly filmed.
Yeah.
And how the main guy, and he's kind of like an asshole.
You want your ass too, mommy? Who talks like that? I do. It works.
And he's the same exact character in that movie too. It's really interesting.
It's funny.
Like,
it's funny.
That's what it reminded me of that very much.
And Miles Teller was in Project X, just as a throwout.
Miles Teller?
Yeah, the dude from like everything, Top Gun.
Oh yeah.
Spiderhead.
Oh yeah.
The Offer. But yeah, he was in that. So,
dude, it's actually a really funny show too. Brax might be my favorite character. Just saying that real quick. You know, he's hilarious. The coach of their team.
Dude, I don't know. Yeah, it's him or Cream Cheese. Dude, well, the names. It's so. I gotta just say, esports, behind the scenes, they film it like it's The Last Dance.
Yeah.
But it's not cheesy. Like, it feels realistic, and I can't wait to find out what happened.
There was parts that caught me where I'm like, is this real or is it not? Like how they use the childhood pictures of the characters to make it look like it's really real. Like they do a really good job of that.
Well, and so it's the same guys who did American Vandal. Not Project X, but which I wasn't a big fan of American Vandal.
Yeah.
That was a little too over the top for me.
Yeah.
It was too fake.
Yeah.
You know, and I saw the second one, I think, where instead of the spray painting, it's everybody craps themselves or something. Like 9 episodes are out.
Dude, yeah.
And it's about e-gaming, and it's amazing. And you feel like you're watching a real, actual sport.
I agree with that.
And it's exciting.
Yeah,
I'm caught up in like, come on, man, and about some goblin shooting a dragon, and I'm like, I know what's happening enough to be totally in on it.
Dude, and how they tie in, like how they go back in time to bring you back to where they are now in the present.
Yeah.
I really envy how they do that. That's like really good.
Dude, from now back to 2016, back to 2021. What happened in and each one of them, so they go through each character, and each one of them has redeeming qualities where they're a good person, but each one of them's kind of an asshole.
Yep. Or something people don't
off.
like about them.
Yeah, they put people off in some different way. So all of them, you're kind of like, not all bad, but man, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, and I will say too, Fugitive is actually a pretty badass gamer squad name.
Fugitive, dude, all the gamer squad. That part's funny. The names are funny. Their attitudes are funny. So.
Yeah, overall, what would you give your final review for it?
For me, players, 5 Zabs. It's fantastic, and you should start watching it.
What about you? I'd have to agree with that. 5 Zabs. It's fantastic. I mean, really caught me off guard. 5 Zabs.
What a lovely surprise.
Lovely surprise. Oh my goodness.
Awesome. Okay, now on to the documentary, Look at Me, XXXtentacion. So a documentary about the short life of the rapper, kind of social media personality, XXX.
Yeah. And
So,
everything he went through.
from when he was footage and whatnot from when he was younger, to the end.
Yeah.
And then interviews with people after. So that's the gist of the documentary.
Yeah. I mean, dude, well, I'll say it's a well-told story through, I mean, for what it's worth of about a rapper and I mean, a lot of it I already feel like I knew, but a lot of it I felt like I also learned too. So that was actually very nice.
Yeah.
And I had heard about his case and stuff like that, but they really go in depth with it in the documentary. Like, they interviewed the girl that was involved, whatever the case.
The family
They
members,
let you
the
form
friends.
They let you form your own opinion through it. Like, it's not really like told to you like from a biased perspective. So I like that part a lot.
My opinion of him is much different after I watched it.
Really?
Not in a good way. Yeah, it just shows you all those other things aside. At the core, he's violent. He's a violent individual.
Mainly angry.
Yeah. And then that was interesting too. When I was watching it, I'm like, his fans remind me, they're no different than when I was young and everyone was like a Pantera or Korn. Yeah. It's just young, angry young men.
Yes.
It's just, there's this, and they just flock to him. Very similar to Tekashi, if you haven't seen that. We reviewed that a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, it is very
You should watch that too, even if you don't know who these folks are. It's just it was interesting.
Dude, that's the thing. He was so part of that culture at that time in 2016 and 17. Like, that's what was really like the most trending part of music at that time. Like, just this hardcore rock and roll, kind of like this pill-drived culture, you know what I mean? And jumping off the stage if you're like...
Extreme,
you know what I mean?
Violent, aggressive.
Mosh pits, you know?
Aggressive. Shock value, anything that'll get people to turn their head, and then you mix that with, another rough childhood. Here we are again. Yeah. Another rough childhood, and I will say though, I want to believe his mom, but I don't think she's as clean as she seems.
She's not.
I want to understand him a little bit, but it's hard. You can't look past some of the things he does.
Yeah.
And so for me. Again, I thought he was kind of wild and this and that, but he inflicted some damage.
Yeah, he did. That's very interesting.
But on the flip side, you understand. It's one of those where you're like, I get why, but you can't do that.
No.
I get it. Like, wow, that's tough. Okay, but now you're, and so, but at the same time, documentary, if you're supposed to be looking into something you've never seen, this does it.
Oh, yeah. That definitely, documentary-wise, it is a pretty good told story. And honestly, for me, with X, he's not the best role model, definitely not. And not the best guy, definitely not. He is him at the same time. Not like I was the biggest X fan or anything, but I did respect him, and I thought he was legit in what he stood for outside of music for some of the things.
And that fantastic song, his big song.
Biggest song, Sad.
Sad. At the end of the day, it's sad what happened to him. It's sad how it all went down. I do think they cheesed out a few different places. I do think they were pushing me to want him to feel sorry for him a little bit. I felt that a little bit, that agenda somewhat. Me personally, where I'm like, okay, it's pretty heavy. But then I say that, and then they still showed all the sides. I mean, so I guess I don't know how accurate that is. But overall, what's your rating on it?
I'm gonna have to give it a 3 Zabs. I mean, I like the documentary. I don't know if I'll recommend it to a lot of people though. It's better than Searching.
I'm at 3 Zabs also. It's better than Searching. For some people, you might really like it, but I could see that some people it's just not their jam. Right. And then I do think they throw in some stuff that we don't necessarily need, and that it's a little choppy. Just from aside from the content, just how they tell it.
Right.
So. 3 Zabs.
Word. R.I.P. X. All right, moving on. The Boys. It's on Amazon Prime. It's about, you guys all know what it's about. Superheroes, and they're pretty sketchy. You know what I mean? We're on season 3, so we figured that we would talk about it now since it's hot right now. And it's,
you have to review it.
You have to review it.
Everyone's seen it.
Everyone's seen it.
You have to review it.
Definitely.
Right?
And it's getting, if there were superheroes, this is definitely how it would be, in my opinion. Like,
yeah, exactly. The chances of them being not dirty is low. Of course they'd be dirty.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
The power goes to everybody's head.
Yeah.
And this is so instant.
Oh yeah.
The premise is fantastic overall. So I was so worried because as these shows keep getting better, they always crap out. So now that's my biggest concern for season 4.
Yes.
They didn't crap out in season 3. I thought it was still just as good as season 1 and 2. But there's always in the back of my head, like, can you maintain that after you know that it's so good?
Yeah.
Because that's usually when
It
it starts to fall,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and they get too big a thing, whatever. So, but I thought it was, right, season 3, they add new characters. Soldier Boy.
Soldier
I
Boy.
meant to ask you this earlier. You seen the show Supernatural?
Yeah.
The 2 dudes.
Yeah.
Soldier Boy is
I know.
the one guy.
Yeah, he's
The Supernatural.
He's the supernatural guy.
With the beard and just
I
yoked
know.
up.
I remember watching it with people before, and they're like, I can't even see him like the same because I'm used to seeing him in Supernatural. Seeing him as Soldier Boy is kind of like, it's shocking for them. It's hard for them to see him as a different character.
It's throwing me off.
Some of them say he plays the same character, in their opinion. I mean, I haven't seen him really in Supernatural like that, but
I've seen more Supernaturals than I care to admit. So I think of that.
yeah.
But it took me, I didn't realize it was him for a minute. I'm like, wait.
He has the best superhero name, honestly, Soldier Boy.
Yeah.
You know, Soldier Boy is loving that. The real Soldier Boy.
It's good. He's good. I'm again, Starlight is getting on my nerves.
Yeah.
Overall, Huey's getting on my nerves. Quite frankly, me personally. Like,
Well,
I'm just like,
but at the same time, she plays her role at the end of the day. Like, she's the one that wants to do the right thing all the time. Even if
Does she though?
it's not the right thing, like, if you really think about it, but
Yeah.
she doesn't want even if it's a murderer. If she sees him as a murderer, she doesn't want to deal with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whoever it is, she doesn't. If she's out on him, she's out on him, and
Yeah.
that's just how she's goody two shoes. That gets really annoying, definitely.
With how season 2 ended, I was worried with Homelander, Stormfront, all that. I was worried how far they were going to take it, and I thought they didn't. They worked that out just fine.
Great.
So that was good.
Dude, honestly, what I love about it is that you could tell, mainly in season 3, you can really tell is how better they get with their writing each episode.
Yeah.
And their filming and how they do it, getting their little jokes across.
Yeah.
And also, their jokes are really underrated, in my opinion. Their little one-liners and their little sneak-in jokes are freaking hilarious.
Yeah. I thought they were really funny with the Deep this season too.
Oh my goodness.
So much funny stuff.
He's hilarious. And dude, freaking, oh my goodness. And how they portray Homelander is legendary, honestly. Like, he's badass, low key. Like, he don't mess with
But he's so, and at the same time though, he's so annoying you want to poke him in the eye.
Right.
Like but he frustrates you so much.
Yeah.
You think it's going to, he finds out a new way to do it. It's just so annoying. Which is what you want.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, right? But I'll tell you what, some of the other folks are starting to be annoying to me too. So, but not in a bad way. But now all of a sudden I like Eminem more. I like, you know what I mean? All of a sudden I like A-Train more.
Yeah.
By the end of the season, like some folks are coming up by some of the other ones.
Yeah.
The girl I like.
Oh, Kimiko.
I
love Kimiko. She's dope. She's awesome.
She's come up, you know.
I like,
come up in the other
boys. All of them are cool. They're all, the whole little gang is dope. I like them all.
But you're in Huey though, I'm like so stuck in their ways.
Yes, they are. All the soups, all their little powers that they give, even like the little ones that you see for a moment, I love all of their little powers they have.
Yeah, some of the little characters are the best ones.
They really are.
And you only see them a second and you're like, that's messed up.
What would you give your overall review then?
Well, The Boys, it's 5 Zabs. If you're not on the train yet, you should get on the train quickly.
Oh yeah, definitely 5 Zabs. Absolutely.
And let's keep it there at 5 Zabs.
Please.
Don't. So many other good series.
That's facts.
That's awesome. Okay, up next, Spiderhead. Movie released 1, so hopefully I'm wrong because that was concerning to hear.
All right, and with our throwback, Menace to Society. It's on Netflix.
1993.
Man, that seems old thinking about that now. That's crazy.
I was a senior in high school when that came out.
And my point exactly.
So overall story, right? Kane and Old Dog.
Kane and Old Dog, and you just go through the lives through the hood. You know what I mean? And as young kids, but they're in the adult life and violent life. And there's always that one friend that goes too far with it and gets a little caught up in it. And or whatever it is, just gets too caught up.
Too much. This guy wants to do it.
And then there's always the friend that is like, chill, man. Let's just have a good life and chill. Like, we don't even get into all that.
Yeah.
I felt like that part was really realistic.
Kane's no.
Kane is no
innocent.
No,
he's doing armed robberies on his own.
He's not innocent.
The way he talked to the girl about the baby.
But you could tell he had a heart. You know what I mean?
He did.
He didn't.
But still, it was still rough. Old Dog, obviously, real rough.
Old Dog.
He'd already cashed it in.
Yeah.
Lorenz Tate, by the way, right, who is still acting.
Did a great job.
The amount of, so directed by the Hughes brothers, one of the best, right?
Yeah.
The way it's directed, I don't think they wasted a conversation, a scene. Everything matters, but nothing sticks out.
For real.
I feel like they literally just take a camera and plopped it in somebody's real life.
Yeah.
It happened to be there, taking it in. It's so well directed. And they're obviously, they win. It's just, that part of it is so good.
Yeah, it was actually filmed with really high quality. Like, it didn't seem like just because it was an older film, it was filmed like better than most films I feel like today.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you're watching it, where you're like, oh man, this is old.
No.
Or did it even cross your mind?
No, it would fit into today and be really good, I feel like.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like it's even better because it happened when it was more realistic and when it was really going on. I feel like it was rougher back then than it is now. Even though it's still rough, I know that.
Well, and back then you didn't see that. So like I was saying, I was in high school when this came out. You'd never seen somebody turn on ovens to make crack, pouring out, like all these things where you're like, oh my God, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then we saw people that like a year later that were like meth heads or other things, and we'd say that. We say it all the time. The cheeseburger, we said it forever. And then we started meeting people like that just because of the time in our life.
Yeah.
And it was like, dude, these guys are, and it was all came back to Menace to Society.
Speaking on that crackhead had me crying, laughing. When he was like, come on, man,
Dude,
I bought you cheeseburgers.
No, that's iconic.
Burgers, man, they some double cheeseburgers.
Anybody my age says it all the time. It's still funny to this day. It's still funny to this day.
It was hilarious.
There's a few lines in there where you're like, you still gotta say that now?
Oh my God, it was funny hearing all the old lingo too with like hood rat, punk,
Jada Pinkett. Dude, she's dressed like TLC.
Yeah.
And so young.
Everybody's wearing like jean jackets and like shin pants that match.
It's so 93.
I love it though.
But you don't mind because it's such a great story.
Yeah.
And then actors wise, you've got, my goodness, there's so many people in there.
So many. Clifton Powell, he's from Next Friday. He was he was Day Day's boss at his work.
The grandpa, Kane's grandpa, Arnold Johnson, the old guy, he was literally on everything. Even like grandma and grandpa watched.
Oh, okay.
Like Matlock and shit. Like I'm talking, he's been on shows for 40 years.
Yeah, because he's a little older in that movie. So.
And he was famous like when I was a kid.
Okay.
Like on old shows. So he's been around forever.
That's dope.
There's a few of those though. Bill Duke is in there.
Bill Duke. Legend.
The dad who goes, I used to smoke a little reefer.
Well, as I see Kevin trying to hide that reefer, it's okay to smoke it. I used to smoke a little reefer myself one time. When I was much younger.
Oh, yeah.
That's Charles Dutton, The Rock. He had a show. Not The Rock, just Rock. He had a show like after this. I think it was like a couple of years after when I was a kid. He had a show for 2-3 years.
I think I've seen the title to that show on like channels flipping through, but I never actually watched it. But he was very familiar.
And then he's the dad on every. Vontae Sweet. That's the Muslim friend.
Oh yeah.
I've
seen him in a lot of stuff.
He just keeps going.
Yeah, because he was in Boys in the Hood, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So huge on stars. Obviously, he's some of the best directors
ever. I haven't seen Kane in much, but I know he's been in other stuff. But I feel like Kane. He killed his role. And what's funny about Kane, like I always thought, like he looked older when I was younger. Like they look older when you're younger.
Yeah.
But like 19-year-olds look older than you when you're like 14, 15.
Yeah.
But now that I'm older, they look so young to me. You know, like
Oh
they look
yeah,
like
no,
kids.
exactly. At the time is like exactly.
You
They
know?
do look like kids.
And what's funny about Kane too, I was thinking that he looks like the baby to me, like in certain angles, like he looks like the baby, the rapper.
Well, and you're so right though, because they are kids, but they're living in this adult life. They're sucked into. They don't get a chance to be kids.
No.
It literally tells us. It's a story about everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's about love. It's about revenge, apathy, loyalty, violence. You know, it's a story that's just about all that human stuff.
Yeah.
It just happens to be set in early 1990, South Central.
Hell yeah.
And it's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a love story in there. It's just nuts. It's nuts. When you talk about the test of time, I think it might have been better this time watching it versus last time, which is crazy. I think it's actually got better as time's gone by, and I already thought it was so good.
Yeah, and one more thing too that I remember from the movie, like the irony of when he was a kid and like his dad's friends made him drink the alcohol.
Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, Samuel
Jackson's in it.
Was his dad?
Dude, Samuel Jackson's been old forever.
Oh yeah.
The guy's been old forever.
I didn't know he was in this movie either.
Yeah.
That was awesome to see.
That was funny.
He killed his role.
Sorry, go ahead.
But it was just funny seeing the irony because when Kane was a kid and his dad's friends let him drink the alcohol out on the porch.
Yeah.
And then Kane's friend's baby mama
Same thing.
kid was hanging out with them or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, let the little man drink whatever.
Yeah.
And they almost did, but he ended up.
Yeah. Let the little man hold the gun.
Yeah.
Let the little man
let him
all
hold
the
the
same
gun.
stuff that people did for that.
Yep, there's a lot of those in there. I liked that.
So great. So throwback for you, what would you give it?
Man, throwbacks have been on fire. I'm gonna have to give it a 5 Zabs. Freaking fantastic. Highly recommend it to everybody.
I give it 5 Zabs. I remembered as 5 Zabs. It's even better than what I remembered. And in my opinion, it should be up there with like The Godfather or Titanic or whatever the hell, Casablanca. I don't know, the best movies ever. To me, it's just one of the best stories ever told. It should be a classic. It should be up there with The Godfather. Things like that. So definitely a 5 Zabs. And what an episode. Yes. We had a lot of 5 Zabs this week. So
yeah,
good for us.
Right.
Well, I'm sure we'll get paid back on that.
Definitely. All
right, let's go into our underrated. So today, categories kind of all over the place. Documentary-ish series.
Right.
So what's your underrated for this episode?
My underrated documentary / series, long documentary, whatever you want to call it, is Hip Hop Evolution. It's on Netflix. Fantastic. Like, if you're a hip hop fan, highly recommend you to watch this. They take you through the timeline of hip hop, how the evolution, and also through each city of where it started. Yeah, it's really good. Like, really good. That's my underrated.
Nice.
What would you give this?
On documentary / series, I took it the other way. So I'm going to go with The Offer. Just came out on Paramount Plus. It's a reenactment of making The Godfather.
Okay.
And it shouldn't be an underrated, but I'm not hearing anybody I know has watched it. So that's why I'm saying it's an underrated, is because just no one has seen it. So I think everybody knows about it, but it's like a 9 or 10 part series about the making of The Godfather, and it's almost as good as the movie. It's just so good. Miles Tanner for everybody, but this is the role where I feel like he's out ready. Like I feel like that's the perfect role for him. So
right.
It all works. But so The Offer, it's a kind of a, you're talking about how hip hop was made. This is how The Godfather was made.
So there you go, evolution of Godfather.
And both of them are debatable if they're underrated. But if you haven't seen it, then I guess they were.
Honestly, exactly. Great point.
All right, now on to our all-time category for this episode. We went with one of our all-time superhero movies each. So, what's one of your all-time superhero movies?
All-time superhero movie for me, I'm gonna have to say is Logan. It's how raw it is I feel like most superhero movies should like take from that. We don't always want the good things to work out or whatever. Everybody has a great life or whatever, or like they just get bit and turn into this. This is about Wolverine and like the struggles he goes through. You know what I mean?
I like young Wolverine. Wolverina, dude, love her.
Yeah.
And
little baby Wolverine. And she's not to be played with, you know what I mean?
No.
She is a straight menace, you know what I mean? She don't play around.
The 2 or 3 of the last few years that everyone raves about are the ones that are somewhat realistic.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's Joker, whether it's Logan, you know, because it's different. It's just fundamentally different than what most of the superhero movies.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh wow, this dude's like a human. You know what I mean? They go through.
Yeah, so such a
legit
different.
stuff.
The realistic take is so different
I love
than
that.
what we see.
I love that. It's a lot like The Boys, you know what I mean? Same vibe. I like that.
Yeah.
So that's an all-time 5 for me. What would you give all-time for you?
Going a different route because I figured we'd talk about a few. When I was a kid, one of my favorite superhero movies was Superman 3. Well, why Superman 3? Richard Pryor was in it. I watch this movie every day. I haven't watched it as an adult, so I'm saying this blind, and now I'm gonna watch it to make sure. But, right, we watched Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
We watched his stand-up.
Oh yeah.
So they added him. It's Superman. There's a guy who's so rich he has like a ski resort at the top of his hotel.
Yeah.
You know, where they're indoors skiing. And I remember there's a missile silo under like Montana where the whole land moves and there's like nuclear weapons. I'm sure it's horrible now, but it was my favorite superhero movie for years. So I'm going with Superman 3 with Richard Pryor and Superman. Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of 5 Zabs. Remember to subscribe, share it with other folks looking for something to watch.
And remember, good luck searching.
Tupa tu.